Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bill Kaler, and I'm the CEO of Team Neo, and I'm honored to be here on Thank Your Mentor Day to recognize all the mentors at College Now, and specifically the 2022 Mentors of the Year. They are Michael Carbo with Moan Incorporated, who is nominated by Abe Mustafa from John Carroll University, and Gail Arnoff from Case Western Reserve University, nominated by Sandy Wan, also from Case Western University. Team Neo is proud to support this event today and the good work that College Now is doing. It's important to us because every day at Team Neo, we work to increase access to jobs, education, and training for our region's 4.3 million people. It makes us more competitive. Every day, we work to inform and influence solutions that will close the talent supply and demand gap. And we do this to build a more vibrant regional economy. And we depend on other people and other organizations to help us be successful. College Now is one of those organizations. College Now keeps students engaged and thinking about their next steps in the college going process to ensure that students are prepared to fill future workforce needs and to keep Northeast Ohio competitive. When College Now succeeds, it's a win for students and a win for the region. I believe in College Now's mentoring program from personal experience. Both my wife and I have had an opportunity to serve as mentors for students over the years. And I must say it's been a very gratifying experience. Both of us would probably say that we have learned as much from the experience as we hope our mentees have gained from the experience. So we hope you enjoyed as well, and we congratulate Michael and Gail, and thank you for all you do.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on National Thank Your Mentor Day. We are very excited to have a great program here for you today. We have two Mentors of the Year and their students, in addition to Margaret Trimmer of Delta Dental. And they'll be having a conversation for us today. Quick reminder as we start, mentors and students in our program, if you meet on Cronus, starting today all the way through this weekend, your student could be entered to win a raffle. So please get those meetings in. We're going to see how many meetings we can log over this weekend. And as you're watching, audience, please feel free to use the comments section to talk about why you are grateful for your mentors today and always. It could be through this program or any other mentor you've had over the course of your time here. And now I'm going to introduce Margaret Trimmer. We are very honored to have her with us today. She's the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships for Delta Dental of Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana, a dental benefits company that covers 14 million lives. And as we discovered in the course of our conversations prepping for this very event, covers several of us on this call. She sits on the senior leadership team, providing expert counsel and direction on all issues related to the company's reputation. And in that role, she also guides marketing, public relations, company culture, and the investment of $8 million dedicated to building healthy, smart, vibrant communities. Prior to joining Delta Dental in 2018, Margaret served for 2.5 years as the president and CEO of Junior Achievement of Southeastern Michigan. She also founded and ran University Prep Science and Math Schools in Detroit. And finally, Margaret directed communications for the Michigan Education Association, the state's largest teachers union, for 10 years. And while at MEA, she started a nonprofit called Your Child. I know from previous conversations that Margaret herself found a mentor at age 17 who has meant a lot to her, and in fact is still her mentor today. So this topic is very near and dear to you as well, Margaret. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. What a joy. And I really will say the only thing probably that matters to me being here today is the importance of my mentor to me and how my mentor inspired me to be a mentor to others. Mentoring is so very critical. And you're going to hear some amazing stories. And I'm going to waste no time in introducing our first pair, which is Abe and Michael. And Abe Mustafa is a junior at John Carroll University, majoring in computer science with a minor in data science. He is no geek, you will see. He will be starting an internship at Highland Software this summer. And Michael Carbo is lead business intelligence analyst at Moen. where he's worked the last 4 years. Abe and Michael have been paired since 2019, July, the summer of 19. First question for the two of you goes to Abe. Abe, is there something that Michael did that really stuck with you? And if there is, describe it and talk about the power of that piece of Michael that made such a difference and stood out for you.
So it was back to our first meeting, actually. It was the first 4 points of advice that Michael gave me, which have been my foundation since starting at John Carroll. The first one was to get a job and be financially stable while attending, whether it be for books, for gas, food, and more. The second point had been to join a club and be socially active so that I can develop the social skills that I honestly did not have at the time, and make more connections, which has actually led to me finding the greatest friendships I've ever had in my life. The third point has been to use the resources at the Career Center to my advantage in regards to learning about interviews, resumes, and business best practices, which, as was mentioned before, has directly led to me going to my second internship now, which is at Highland as a web developer. And then last but not least, always be sure to have fun, as no matter what all this work is for, all of it is for you, and your mental health is just as important as anything else. You should always be sure to maintain it. Michael has always been like, he's always been a personal GPS for me. He's always made sure I'm on the right path. Michael is, as my mentor, he's constantly paving the road ahead of me and giving me signs here and there just to make sure I know I'm on the right way as well. If I was on a city street before meeting Michael, I have been on the smoothest highway in my life ever since our first conversation. And I could not be any more grateful for having Michael not only as a mentor, but as one of my greatest friends.
I think that GPS definition ought to be trademarked and ought to build something really powerful as you go forward around that concept. What a concept. So, Michael, what was your first impression of Abe, and how has your relationship with Abe and how has Abe changed over time?
Sure. So before I get to my first impression of Abe, I really genuinely think that it starts with me walking up to the convention center downtown, truly thinking about the feelings leading up to formally meeting him. I remember walking into the convention center in the pouring rain, thinking to myself if I actually made the right decision to join college now. My hopes genuinely were that I was going to get a student that was eager to be a part of this program. And for more or less not for this to not be a second job, right? So when I actually sat down at that table and I met Abe, my first impression of him was that he was somebody that just exuded so much positivity. He was eager to learn, and he was genuinely excited to be part of college now. And since our first encounter, my impressions about Abe couldn't have been more spot on. His great attitude, his outlook on life are very contagious, and anyone who's actually been around him for 5 minutes will feel the exact same way. So in addition to all that, his work ethic, his drive, his family values, I truly think speak volumes about the type of person that he is and who he's going to become in this bright future that I know awaits him.
Do you ever think that there might come a day when you're working for Abe?
Absolutely. I mean, he's doing a fantastic job at John Carroll. I couldn't be prouder of him. He has taken the right path, to steal his words, taken the right path in everything that he does. He's thinking things through. He's really exploring all of his options. And I genuinely think that there could be one day that maybe some of us on this phone call are reporting to him.
That's pretty powerful notion. Mentoring and being a mentee could be intimidating on either side of the equation. Did you feel any trepidation beyond, oh, who is this person going to be? Like, did you feel a enormous sense of responsibility, Abe, to show up in the way that your mentor might expect? Or Michael, did you feel like, oh my gosh, I have the weight of helping this young person and I hope I make the right guidance choices? Go ahead, Michael, start.
Sure. So I think all of that was actually relieved at the moment that I met Abe, and I found out I just saw how positive he was and just how excited he was to be a part of the program. I think that weight that I thought I potentially could have on my shoulders was lifted as soon as I met him. I think the one thing that I genuinely want, I hope that I've learned so much. So during this entire process, this is my first time being a mentor. So I really hope that Abe has learned just as much as I've actually gained throughout this entire process.
Abe, how about you? Any sense of intimidation?
I was actually very, very nervous our first meeting. I was wondering if this was going to be kind of like a business type interaction where it would just be asking questions and then getting a response back, but there was nothing more than that. But it was so much more than that. And I could tell from the first meeting that Michael was someone that actually cares. And I was able to loosen up a bit more. I think Michael could vouch for the fact that I was as stiff as a wooden board our first meeting. I was very nervous, didn't know what to say. And as soon as we actually started speaking, I realized this was going to be a great relationship going forward. As Michael, I feel like, exemplified what a mentor should be, someone that cares, someone that puts forward the attention, and really I'm happy Michael was the person I met. I'm very happy for that.
Before Madeline jumps in with highlights and potential questions from the audience, I want to ask that one question about when Michael guided you on those 4 points and encouraged you to have fun. Did you have fun? Do you have fun? And what do you choose as fun?
I actually do. I remember right after that, the first thing that came to mind, and something that I do regularly, I always try and this goes back to the second point, to make connections. Make sure you have try and find people that you have things in common with, so that you can spend time with them and engage with them. There's a lot of times those people may be in class or may not even be. I have a lot of friends here I don't even go to class with, but I speak with all the time. We joke around, we go out and have lunch, we do everything together. And even if it's you should never forget to speak with your mentor too, because every conversation me and Michael have had whenever we went for lunch has always been fun. And I've never felt like we had to be very formal. It was very much a friendship at that point. Fun should be following your hobbies when you have to, if you can, and trying, at least for me, it's following my hobbies and being with friends and being with family. You want to make sure you put that up there as one of your priorities.
So important at an era when we can be isolated socially, and social media doesn't necessarily facilitate human connection. Wonderful, wonderful conversation. I bet, and I hope the audience is engaged, Madeline.
Yes, we have some great comments, and I think everyone's probably has a big smile on their face right now, just like we do here in the office listening to you both. But a couple student comments, one from Malik. I'm grateful for my mentor, Ryan Amos. He's always there for me, and he also rocks. And Zarina wrote, I'm grateful for my mentor because she's helped me so much. And then on the flip side, some of our mentors weighing in, Tim writes, I'm learning I need to step up my game and be more committed to my mentees. So you guys are doing some great inspirational work here today. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, thank you very much. And we're going to bring Sandy and Gail into the picture now. And Sandy is a senior at Case Western Reserve University. She will graduate this spring with a dual degree in English language and literature and human nutrition. She will begin an optometry program at The Ohio State University in the fall. Gail Arnoff is a visiting lecturer of English at Case Western Reserve University, and she's also taught at John Carroll University, as well as in the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. Sandy and Gail have been matched since July 2018, a year longer than Michael and Abe. Welcome to both of you. And I'm going to throw the first question at Gail. Gail, at first glance, it would appear that there are a lot of differences between you and Sandy. Did the two of you find it difficult to relate? Just how did you bridge those gaps?
Well, there's really only one word to describe the reason that Sandy and I get along so well, and that word is a Yiddish word, beshert, which means it's meant to be. And this is how it was meant to be. I have a granddaughter in Israel who's exactly the same age as Sandy, so there's that connection. Sandy attends Case, I teach at Case. Sandy has the best of the double majors, which is English, of course, and I teach writing and literature. And finally, and most incredibly, Sandy and I are both figure skating nuts. We watch every skating event on the Peacock Network, and then we email back and forth. We send links to videos. We talk about the skaters as though we know them, and I think we probably do, actually. For Sandy's graduation, as a gift, she and I are going to attend Stars on Ice on May 6th, and we are going to be screaming our heads off. I just know it. There's only one negative, though, I have to say, and Sandy's aware of this. Sandy doesn't like chocolate, and dark chocolate is really one of my major food groups. So we have that little issue there, but we deal with it. So I just wanted to say that although my first two college mentees definitely found their way into my heart, and I'm sure that my next mentee starting next summer will be also part of my heart. But I have to say that Sandy has the edge. Sandy and I have become really good friends. Thank you for nominating me, Sandy. And I'm giving you a virtual hug.
Yay! Thank you so much, Gail. Yeah, no, go ahead. Sorry.
One of the things I think that you had said earlier too, Gail, is that if not for this program, the two of you might have passed in the hallways, on the streets, and never really stopped to get to know each other. So the program really gave you that bridge. Sandy, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, I was just gonna say thank you for saying that. I've never heard of that Yiddish word before. And to say that we're meant to be, I completely agree. From the moment I met you, I thought, how did College Now find the perfect mentor for me? I didn't even think that there was a person like this who physically looks so different from me and who I never thought I would have met otherwise, but somehow we were connected through this mentorship program. And it just means so much to me because of that.
So go a little deeper. How has your life changed as a result of this relationship?
Yeah, so I would say if I had to pick one word myself to describe our relationship, I would say that Gail kind of acted like a catalyst to me in college. When I originally entered college at Case, I struggled a lot, like academically, socially. I expected the classes to be easier. I expected to do better, and I expected it to be easier to make friends. So I definitely struggled a lot, and I kind of took a hit to my self-esteem as a result of that. But then meeting with Gail every month, talking to her, she gave me that confidence boost that I needed. It was like whenever I was feeling down, I would meet up with her and she would make me laugh and smile and give me advice. And then it just was so apparent to me that she believed in me. Whenever I had an idea of what I wanted to do, like maybe I'm thinking of joining the student organization, like she'd say, yes, absolutely. If I say, I have a chem exam coming up, like, I don't know if I'll do well. She's like, you're going to do great. And I know you will. And it was like, I needed that person to tell me like that I would do well, because then I would have that confidence in myself and that belief that I could achieve more. And I definitely think that thanks to her, I was able to grow personally as a person. But then also like as a leader, as somebody who had like interpersonal skills. And now I'll be attending optometry school and I'll eventually become a doctor. And I think she's a massive part of that journey.
So mentors are not our parents, your parents, right? And there's something really powerful about that, because there are things that you might not share with your mom or your dad if you're struggling or if you're unsure. Talk a little bit about the power of having a non-parent adult riding shotgun with you.
Oh man, that's such a good question. So I can get started, and Gail, if you have anything to add, feel free to jump in. So personally for me, I was a first generation college student. So all I knew was that my parents wanted me to do well in college. And because I've had a history of doing like well in school, they just expected me to just do well. So when I initially struggled in college, it felt like I didn't have that person, like an adult figure to talk to. I could go to my professors possibly, but they were being paid to teach me. And I also like, they were giving me grades, you know, I didn't want to go to them and be like, I'm failing your class, please help me. And I didn't want to like vent to them. I couldn't vent to them. So to Gail, she could be that person for me. She was removed enough from the situation that it wasn't like super personal with me saying like, I'm not doing as well as I expected. I didn't have that disappointment that my parents would inevitably had, even if they supported me. So I just felt unconditional support. I think with a mentor, that's the kind of person you need when you're in college and you just feel alone. You need like somebody to support you.
Gail, how did it feel to be that person who could offer unconditional belief?
It's a wonderful feeling, really. Having raised children myself, I totally understood that Sandy's relationship to me was nothing like a mother-daughter relationship. And maybe we would have been arguing if it had been. But,
there's a mother-daughter thing, you know.
Right. And I just have continually been so impressed with Sandy and all she's done. She's a true leader at Case. She's involved in 15 million different activities. She's getting top grades. I wanted to mention something. The first year that I met Sandy that was particularly important for both of us is I took Sandy and she has an identical twin sister at Case and another sister. And I took Sandy and Mandy to the downtown to register to vote. And when they got up to the window, there was this big announcement. We have first-time voters. We have first-time voters. And there were bells ringing and people were cheering. And that just almost made me cry to think that I had brought a new voter in and registered her, and she was going to be part of our country.
That was a core memory for me. Like that started me on like my civic like journey, I'd say, because when I was struggling in college, I definitely wasn't thinking, oh, I better hit the polls, you know? So Gail like put my foot in the door. And from there, I've been able to become more engaged like with politics and making sure I had a voice in this country as well.
Yes,
Very
and you
important
did.
stuff.
And you're going to be a great optometrist. I may have to change optometrists in 4 years.
I'll make sure to give you free
Wonderful.
exams.
Wonderful, poignant, great lifelong memories that you've built. Madeline, I think it's time to bring in any thoughts and comments from the audience gathered.
Yes, thank you, Margaret. Well, we have had a very absorbed audience in watching the comments here. And so Gail and Sandy, we so appreciate hearing your perspective and your views. But I think we actually have some questions that we've put in the chat on staff, and I'd be curious to hear everybody's take on those. So if everyone wants to turn their cameras back on, and I know Margaret probably has a question or two up their sleeve as well. But we just posed this question to our audience here, but posing it to you all. How do you see your relationship continuing past the formal end of the program? So after you're done with Cronus, where do you see this going?
Oh, Sandy and I are friends for life. No question.
Without a doubt. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep, that's it. We're together.
Yeah, and I think a massive part of that is that we have so many shared interests. We will never run out of things to talk about.
Right.
It's not about personal life. We'll talk about figure skating. We'll talk about English. There's always stuff to talk about and catch up about.
Mhm.
I think it'll be a great relationship. I'm looking forward to sharing all of my details when I enter optometry school with Gail.
Mhm.
I agree with Gail and Sandy. I think that this is, like we said earlier, evolved into a friendship that will last forever. And I just want the open communication between both of us. And when Abe knows if he has a question or needs something, he knows he can reach out to me, no problem.
And I can already, even from our current, like whenever we go out for lunch, it's not always just about school already. We're already talking about stuff out of school, our families, if anything's happening at home, anything that we're looking forward to doing. It's already like, we've already become friends, and I know this is gonna last far after this is done.
I've literally
Michael.
been with my mentor for 40 years. And when she left Detroit and then came back to Detroit, where I'm based, 6 years ago, she came back and she tapped me to introduce her to who the movers and the shakers in the city are now. And it was a full circle kind of an opportunity to help her in some of the same ways that she helped me back when I was getting my career start. Very, very powerful stuff. Can I throw a question into the mix? There's a generational difference between mentor and mentee. Did you find, Michael, Gail, Sandy, Abe, did you find ever there to be a barrier because I'm in one generation, you're in another, you just won't get it? Or did you find that you had a lens into learning about the other generation that you're not part of? Michael, Abe, why don't you guys go first?
I mean, I feel like there wasn't as much of a visible barrier. Michael was a very, very open person to speak to, and there was always a lot to learn from him without any issues of communication. I mean, definitely what I did learn from had been his own experiences back then, because definitely when it came to a lot more of the business side with learning about Michael's previous experiences at internships, those had kind of leveraged my own experience, like beliefs of try and learn as much as I can and experience as much as I can, because you never know what some places will be like. There wasn't really a generational barrier. It was very, very easy to speak with Michael.
I agree with it. There was no issue or generational barrier. I think when you're in the workplace, you kind of experience that on a daily basis, and you just have to do your best to adapt to those situations. So you find common ground, you go with it. And like I said earlier, I mean, Abe and I just hit it off from the beginning. So there was no barriers.
Awesome. Gail?
I don't think that Sandy and I had them. I think, for one thing, I have two granddaughters in their early 20s, which I still can't believe, but I do. And so they're the same age, and I'm very, very close to them. And so with Sandy, it was kind of like having another granddaughter to talk to and share with. When we would get the prompts, I often would say to Sandy, well, here's this prompt asking me about something that happened in my freshman year in college. Then am I supposed to go back 60 years? Do you think I remember? So we would have a lot of good times with the prompts because I didn't remember. And Sandy was always so on target with everything. I'd say, well, you already did this. You already did a resume. You already did that. So I didn't feel any barriers at all.
Yeah, I definitely did not feel any barriers. I think actually our relationship benefited from having like that generational gap because it offered each of us perspective to each other's lives. Like I was able to learn about Gail's life growing up, going to college, how different it was from mine. It allowed me to compare, see how I could take her best moments, apply them to my life. She could learn about me, learn more about her students because I was able to share my experiences with her. It was especially applicable because I attended CASE. I took an English class. Obviously, I didn't have her as a professor, but just like having that connection, learning about her grandchildren, all of it allowed us to get to know each other better as people. I think with the generational gap, it allowed us to learn more. I could learn more about perhaps what my parents and my grandparents went through. So I think we were able to build like a larger wealth of knowledge thanks to that difference. And I really appreciated it actually.
Wow, great stuff. Is there anything else, Madeline, from the audience that we should insert here?
I think, Gail, just a quick note for you. Marion has commented, so proud of my sister-in-law, Gail Arnoff, and also loved hearing from Abe and Michael. So your family is watching.
Nice.
How wonderful. Well, what a half hour. I think we could be here for 4 hours and not even scratch the surface of the power of these relationships. Thank you, College Now, for doing this program. I hope it never ends. And Delta Dental will be there to support it over the years. So don't hesitate, Madeline, to call on us again. And thank you in the audience for joining us. Big thanks to every mentor out there. It's a contribution to the future that is so important. And Michael and Gail, what terrific role models you are. Abe and Sandy, same thing. What a delightful commentary on the generation entering the workforce. You're the talent that we're looking for, and so wonderful to see you in this program. And really how grateful you are. You know that you benefited from something powerful. Today, please, everyone, take time to thank your mentor, whoever they may be, wherever they may be. And in closing, remember that this weekend is a meeting challenge for all you pairs who meet from now until Monday, and log that meeting on Cronus. The student will be entered to win a gift card. Let's see how high we can push the meeting ticker on Cronus. Have a safe week and a wonderful